Hello, 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 Crossroads, which is another interesting magical beings. I always start by saying I'm so happy to be back. And this is one time I can heartfully say I'm so happy to be back. Excuse my voice a little, as you can tell. I've got a really wonderful cold. That end of winter, spring cold, when it's hot one day, cold the next, has got to me. And also, as many of you have been so kind enough to comment, to email me directly asking, where are you, Taryn? My life took a turn in a millisecond and everything changed here. My husband, my partner, my best friend of 35 years was in a very, very serious, could have been bad serious, where we were putting him 6 feet under type scenario, incident with the farm tractor. And he lost. And we ended up, him in the trauma center in a hospital for, a week and all sorts of things there. And so obviously my energy went there. And how, again, everything in a millisecond changed. I was already contemplating what I was going to do with social media and how I was going forth with the House of Witchcraft for 2025, what our goals were, and everything else, and me personally wanting to step back a little. I want to continue to make content for YouTube when I have something to say. I don't want a schedule of content. I want it just to be, again, when I have something to say. So I had all this going on, and then again, my husband, he almost died, y'all. And for those of you who know my husband, have seen pictures of him, I know many of you have no idea. You're like, oh my God, she's married and she's married for 35 years. Let me put the icing on the cake by telling you I'm married to Santa. If you saw my husband, all you have to look at Santa, and that's who I'm married to. I really, all right? Long beard, everything. When he was in trauma, some of the nurses were like, I heard Santa was here, which is common. We've gotten used to it over the years. When I married him, he sort of looked like, what was that actor that, Tom Selleck, bushy, mustache, my husband's 6'4" and everything else. And he slowly aged into Santa. And now it's this long, beard. It's a beautiful beard of his hair's probably about as long as mine, but he keeps it back in a ponytail and everything. And so I've slowly gotten used to the idea that the Dark Witch married Santa, which I always thought was a wonderful joke on the universe. It's with the fact that the Dark Witch is with Santa, and we have a great relationship. So all of that in an instant, boop, it changed. And that made me realize how much we ought not take for granted, where we think we're off doing one thing and then we're doing something else. And how we handle that through our witchy, magical selves. Yes, my altars, actually, I'll show y'all right here. Let me flip her over. And this is the altar as it's set up right here. This is the top altar. I know I'm shaky, so I'm not going to get up and make this look pretty. But this is currently my altar that I had. Yes, that's Hecate. Is the goddess of the crossroads, and it's a crossroads witch. I called to her, and making sure that while all this medical stuff and everything else was going on, that I was keeping myself in this magical place of healing energy for him. and asking members of the House of Witchcraft, asking my coven to light a candle and say a prayer. And I really think it helped. I think it helped me. I think it helped him. And knowing that we had community around us also was very, very comforting. And it was a reaffirmment of, people talk, I'm a solitaire and things like that, on how important it is to have community. Whether it's a virtual community or a physical community, or if you're lucky enough to say, I have both. But how much community helps us. And right now, here in America, y'all know shit's gone bad sideways. And what do we need to do? We need to find our communities, be a part of them, be part of the voice of sanity, part of the voice of democracy, part of, the voice of all inclusive and things like that, where I had it on a personal scale where I understood that how important it was to have community around. And then also, for us with the house, we do have different causes. The house is a very, very, very proud. Many of us are members of the alphabet community, LGBTQ+. Let's just go with the alphabet mafia, all right? We have members of the alphabet mafia, and we also have allies of the alphabet mafia. I've been a proud ally for a very, very long time. And how important it is to have community. How important it is when you feel alone to reach out. I know when everything went to us, you're like, I don't want to call and tell people. I don't want to get up in other folks' spaces. But I'm so grateful I made those phone calls and, told people what was going on with us and everything. And that I didn't try to handle it alone. All right. And that I've reached out, and then I also had opportunities to seek comfort as well, and how reassuring that was for me. And so I want to put that into, my own personals with, I had a firsthand experience of how important community was when an emergency was going on. My husband is home from the hospital now. He is on the road to recovery. We are weeks, months away from a full recovery, but it's there. And so we're on this path forward. And that, I had, basically just stopped doing any type of social media, doing type of any of that, where instead I turn to, like I said, the folks in which are in my virtual space, the folks that are in my physical space, my friends, my family, and how important it was to have them. I didn't need to make some social media post about what was going on in my private life and having strangers tell me that they feel bad for me. We need connections and community. And that's something I've been struggling with social media, because I feel like the more connected we are, the more isolated we are. And it's an illusion in so many ways. And that we have got to really make sure that, especially now, that we are working on those relationships with folks, and that we're coming together in groups, and that we are, like I said, making sure that our voices are being heard one way or another. I know somehow in the middle of my husband's tragedy, I'm talking activism, but it all comes together with how important community is. And the Magickal community is an amazing place full of amazing people, and to lean out and lean into them. And also for me, how important it was, like I said, when a tragedy happened, that I did have my spirituality, that I had my connection to divinity as I knew it. And of course, y'all know I was over in I was in the graveyard last night and the night before. It's probably why I have a little bit of a cold right now. I'm a little congested and I can hear my voice, which is, I have a low voice naturally, and now I really have a low voice with this going on. But seeking comfort from the ancestors, seeking comfort from the spirits in the graveyard, for me was very important as a crossroads witch, as a dark witch, as a lover of dead things. I went to my comfort space, many times over the past several weeks. I've been sitting in the graveyard. The first night obviously was just I can't even how traumatizing what was going on with, they're monitoring my husband for internal bleeding. His entire rib cage has been like this. Every rib is either broken once, twice, or so many times they lost count on him, and everything else. And sitting in the graveyard and talking to dead folks actually reminded me about life, and even then I believed, that my husband was going to pull through one way or another, because I was not ready to put him in that graveyard, that's for darn sure. But how important that was when we do have tragedies in our lives, that we turn to our relationships with divinity as we know it. We turn to our ancestors. And for many of us, we turn to the spirits of the land. I know that I took a walk a couple of days ago. I went over, we have a beautiful little park here on Edisto River. And so I was able to go and sort of walk along the river. And I had this moment where I felt it coming around me. I felt the spirits, and you don't have to, yes, you do need to speak out loud, but at the same time, they already know what's going on. But it felt like a hug, and it was, ooh, y'all, that one got me. But it was such a comforting moment that I needed. And I came back, from the park just feeling a little better about what was going on, and I could handle keeping care of this place while my husband is laid up, because we are working on the storybook barn here. We already have one short-term rental available. It's called the Breezy Porch. I probably should put the link to it somewhere if anyone would like to come and stay. It's a beautiful apartment. We're working on our other short-term rental. We're working on the gathering space for intimate celebrations in life, where it's just you and a little group of people and you still want someplace magical, or even if your group is wanting to have a retreat. We are slowly setting that up. And we have all these plans, and then all of a sudden one day I went, boom, everything gets put on hold. And yes, that is, very upsetting. But at the same time, it gave me a chance to sit back and be like, all right, the universe is giving me a chance to sort of reevaluate, relook. And, we're not on some sort of hard time limit where if I don't have it done in 90 days or anything like that, and everything's okay. But it was almost like I needed that slap in the forehead to remind me of that. And everything that has happened to us in the past couple of weeks has been such a tragedy. And at the same time, I feel this side of triumph, coming through, because we're looking for that. You can go through with the glass half empty or go through with the glass half full. You can go through looking for doom and gloom, and I could be sitting here crying about, oh my gosh, he's going to probably be laid up for 4, 5, 6 months. But on the other side, that's 4, 5, 6 months that we have different time together. That's 4, 5, 6 months that we can go back and look at our plans. That's 4, 5, 6 months, that we can do other things. like taking very slow walks right now around the barn is what we're doing. But finding the positive in the middle of everything, finding the triumphs in the middle of the tragedies is so important. And just because you lead a magical life doesn't mean that shit doesn't happen to you. Doesn't mean that the law of chaos doesn't happen. And it's not the, oh, were you cursed? No, that sometimes shit happens, all right? Not to mention, if you've watched any of my other content, you know I work on the basis that somebody's always cursing on me. Maybe the lady that the grocery store line, maybe some troll on the internet who sends me an email. I curse you, I curse you. What the hell, all right? I don't worry about those folks because I live my life right. I have my relationships with divinity, with my ancestors, with spirit realm. I am protected. Not to mention I'm a dark witch. I have a very deep sense that I am the darkest thing walking in the forest. Do not make me wake up and spread my demon wings, all right? Where I have a very deep knowledge of all things dark and deadly. But that isn't the balance of life, you know. Just because I have that doesn't mean that I'm powerful. My power comes from the light half. My power comes from love, beauty, kindness, gratitude, all right? And even in the middle of all of this shit that I've been putting up with, I can't say tragedy that I've had happen. I've had to find that place of gratitude. And it's been hard. You know, and I think sometimes people think that, oh, you're a witch, you know, somehow nothing bad happens to you. Somehow you live this mystical, magical life and everything works out exactly the way it's supposed to. That ain't the truth. All right? Magic doesn't stop things from happening. I wish I could tell you it did. It doesn't. But what magic does help you understand is that you can get through it. You will get to the other side. You will triumph over whatever tragedy is going on in your life. And having that deep innate belief of self that I can do this, you know. I'm now maintenance at the barn. I had to go change a doorknob a couple of days ago. We had a doorknob thing that I had to unscrew and put it back in and then get it so that the lock thing came out and all that. So I watched a YouTube video. All right. I had my husband halfway explain it to me. I got my YouTube video out, sat there with the YouTube watching it while I was doing it, and I fixed it myself. All right. I'm like, I'm a witch. If there's a way, I'm going to find it. And that was my attitude. That's been my attitude about everything that we have going on, is that, you know, we're going to come out of this just fine. We will find a way. We will learn to operate a little differently. There'll be things that he used to do he can't do right now. Eventually he will, but right now he can't. I have to do it. And me stepping up and being like, all right, I can figure it out. You know, leaning into that sense of wonderment, that sense of inquiry, that sense of knowledge, that sense of learning. Never saying I can't, but instead saying I'll figure it out. You know, I'll find some way to do it. And I am so grateful that I'm a witch in the middle of everything that's happened these past couple of weeks, and that I am relying on that magic within me, and that I am relying on my relationship with divinity. And so I wanted to give this as an update, and at the same time, like I said, little bits of wisdom here, where I talked about some stuff I know that's so off subject, but it just made me realize how important it is that we have community, and that as a community, we can change the world. We can change the way things are going. And I'm an old school witch who has I was taught that as go magic folks, so goes the world. We are the spearhead of humanity, and that we've got to use that. We're the ones that guide, and making sure that we're guiding well, making sure that we are, again, kindness and gratitude and understanding and compassion. These are words that need to be part of our vocabulary. It is up to us to make sure that we're doing that, both in our physical realm and in our virtual realm. When you go to leave a little comment on someone, are you uplifting? Because that's what we need right now. We don't need no tearing down. We got more than enough folks doing that. All right, we need to remember, that humankind, be kind. And please get involved in y'all's local communities. Please get involved in whatever, virtual community, whatever. Get involved is all I'm saying. And I will be putting out content as, like I said, as I feel compelled to. Right now, obviously, my energies are in my private life with my husband. And I am not, I think I'm going to deactivate my Facebook account. I don't think I'm going to be doing a lot of social media. I think I'm going to be really working on focusing with my physical group and also focusing with the virtual group in the House of Witchcraft. And if that's something you want to get interested in, please go to houseofwitchcraft.com. We do have, I think it's $14.95 a month. That's to cover all of this crap ass technology. So I don't make any money off of it. I don't pull any money off of the house, any excess money. Well, we've had a little bit of excess money. And we used that money, to make a donation back into the community. We've also, used that money for a little party that we all got together when we were in New Orleans a couple of years back. We had, not a lot of money, we just had a little bit. But taking that, so please come join and everything. And I'm going to stop rambling right now. And I hope all of you out there have a bright, blessed day. And as always, witches, go fly those brooms. Amen. Blessed be. Ashe and a bobo.